So, the DOF Reality M2 motion platform. Something I've been looking at for a little while, trying to find something affordable, by way of motion. A seat mover seemed a logical choice. The Next Level Racing motion platform, the V3, is obviously £1,500 more, so quite a bit of extra money compared to the DOF Reality M2, which is only £800. The question, of course, everyone asks is it worth the extra money to go Next Level Racing, or is the DOF Reality platform okay? And there's dick all content on YouTube or the internet, really, as far as reviews go for this platform. So I thought I'd take the plunge, grab one, and just see what happened, really. Anyway, the first question everyone wants to know is it worth it? Is it any good? The answer is yes, it definitely is. Is it as smooth as the Next Level Racing V3? No, probably not quite. It's not as refined, but do you want to pay another 1,500 notes for a little bit more, refinement or smoother motion? Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but that's a huge price difference. Anyway, it's definitely worth buying. It does a good job. Let's get that out of the way first of all. But fuck me, is it a ball ache to install? Which is what I'm going to go through in a minute. I'm going to switch the camera around, show you on the rig itself. Now, I've installed it to a GT Omega Art cockpit, which is listed on the DOF Reality site as a compatible cockpit, which implies to me it should bolt straight on. Yeah, that's what I assume by compatible. Well, apparently the guys at DOF Reality, they use the word compatible, and if compatible means you need an angle grinder, a drill, some bolts, some metal plates, and a degree in mechanical engineering to make it fit, then I guess it's compatible, because yes, you can make it fit. Does it bolt straight on? No, definitely not. Do you have to modify your rig? Yes, quite a bit. Do you have to modify the motion platform? Yes, you have to drill some holes. I'm going to go through it all in a minute. Anyway, it was a ball ache, but now it's done. It works. It's great. It's all good. So let me switch the camera around, and I'll take you through the ball ache and explain what I did to get it all working. Cheers. So, first things first, there it is, sat underneath my seat. Now, as I mentioned before, it's supposed to be compatible with the GT Omega Art Racing cockpit, which is what I have here. Standard cockpit, standard seat, nothing out of the ordinary. So, the first thing that you'll notice, you take your rig apart, and there are 4 holes. One here, this is on the DOF Reality platform, one here, and one here. And the same on the other side, so there's your 4 holes. They do line up with these runners on the rig here. So naturally, you bolt it to there. There's no instructions with this, by the way. It's just a box with a power supply in, which I've got mounted there, and the platform itself, and some nuts and bolts and stuff, and a couple of tools. So I bolted it to here and here, which made sense to me because it doesn't line up anywhere else. I got that on, and then I got my seat, sat my seat on the top, and the runners do not line up with the top of the motion platform here. In fact, you can already see this big metal plate here. That does not come with it. That's part of the ball ache you have to do to make it fit. So the problem is, a standard seat that comes with your GT Omega rig is just narrower. You can see from this angle, the plate I've made up bolts to the outside of the motion platform to the left, and then to my seat runners on the right there. You can see the 2 bolts plain as day. The other side of the seat's obviously the same. So, let me get off the floor. That was the first ball ache. I thought it was all going so well when I bolted it down straight away. So yeah, got a big sheet of steel, cut it down, drilled the holes in the right places, measured up, and boom, the seat's bolted down. I fitted the seat completely centrally, so you've got equal adjustment backwards and forward on the motion platform, and also where it's sat with regards to the rig. So I got in my seat, plugged it all in. I'll show you the software actually in a minute. Plugged it all in, got in the seat, and the first thing I realised was I couldn't fucking barely reach the pedals. this motion platform raises your standard GT Omega RS6 seat or the RS91 up by about 6 to 7 inches. That is quite a lot of extra height. So when I sat in the seat and went to reach the pedals, I had to put the seat so far forward that my knees were then smacking against the underside of the wheel deck. This was actually a bit low. I've had to raise the wheel deck up as well. So yeah, that was the first problem, seat doesn't fit. Second problem, you now can't reach the pedals. Now there's no easy way to adjust the height of the pedals on a GT Omega cockpit. It rotates. You can adjust. You've got these ones here which will adjust the angle, but from factory this piece here just bolts through here, and this is obviously way down here. So as you can already see, what I've had to do is put the back adjustment, the tilt adjustment, on the highest setting, and then make two little brackets, one here, one the other side, to raise the whole pedal deck up. If you don't do that, I guarantee you will not be able to press the pedals. I'm 5'11", so I'm neither tall nor short, and even with the seat all the way forward, my heels were coming off the heel plate to depress the clutch and the brake fully. It's just because this seat gets raised up so fucking high. It's ridiculous. So that's what I did to cure that. Obviously, the highest adjustment at the back, a couple of little brackets at the front. Now that's brought it up about maybe 4 inches, I would say. So it's closed the gap a little bit between how high the seat has gone and how low the pedals were originally, but it's not exactly the same. But it is perfectly comfortable and it works just fine. So there's your solution for that. But again, this is not what I would call compatible. So far, I've had to make brackets for the seat and I've had to make brackets for my pedal deck. And then I've had to raise up the steering wheel deck as well. Thankfully, that is adjustable anyway. So at this point, you can sit in the rig, you can reach the pedals, you can use the steering wheel, gear shifter obviously came up as well, no problem there. And you think, oh great, awesome. Now, part of the instructions from DOF Reality tell you to balance the seat. Now, to do this is actually something, there was a good review by Barry at the Sim Racing Garage in America of this platform, and probably the only other in-depth review out there on YouTube. But he failed to mention a big part of the installation process, which is that you have to balance your seat and you as the driver on top of the motion platform. And what I mean by that is, if you're sat too far back or too far forwards, to be honest, too far forwards isn't too much of a problem because your legs stick out and your legs rest on the foot plate. So you kind of balance yourself a little bit anyway. But if you have the seat too far backwards, then all your body weight is on these two rear motors, obviously only two motors, and basically they can't lift you up. With it installed, bolted to the rig in standard position, with the seat fitted centrally, and even with my seat then slid all the way forwards, which is not how I drive, but I had to do it to try and figure out what the hell was going on, the seat would recline with motion, and then it didn't have the strength to lift me back up. I actually thought mine was fucked. I thought there was a problem with it, and I spoke to DOF Reality and they said, try moving the seat forward. Have you balanced it? I said, yes, I balanced it. Yes, I moved the seat all the way forward. So, and you know, in my mind, I balanced it as much as I could because it's supposed to bolt straight on. So anyway, the balancing process, you disconnect these two rods here, which just lets your seat flap around. You sit in the seat, you put your feet up on the pedal deck in your normal driving position. If the seat wants to fall backwards and you're having to hold yourself up by gripping the steering wheel, you are not balanced. You are too far back. Basically, you should be able to have your hands on the wheel, but not actually gripping them. Just out in front of you as if you were going to be driving, and your feet out. That way you're in the perfect position to balance yourself. That's where you're going to be sitting. So if at that moment the seat wants to fall backwards, you know, if you release your grip, then you're not balanced and the seat needs to come further forward. Now, it's not about being further forward on your rig, it's about being further forward than the centre point of the motion platform, where the universal joint is that it tilts back and forward, left and right on. So, here we go with more ball ache. My seat's already all the way forward. It's bolted to the rig where the bolt holes line up, and it doesn't work. What did I have to do to fix it? Well, as you can see, I'm not using these 4 holes anymore, bolted into here, because I've had to move the whole platform back as far as I could, which is probably whatever that distance is, 4 or 5 inches. So I had to re-drill holes in the bottom of the motion platform frame, and bolt it again here and here. So there's now holes under there. Sorry, I wasn't looking where my camera is then. Holes under there and under there. So that's moved the motion platform back, which moves the pivotal point, the universal joint. It was about here, now it's about here. So I thought, okay, maybe that will be enough to be able to balance the seat. But no, it still wasn't enough. Even with the seat all the way forward, let go of my grip on the steering wheel, fall backwards. So I'm like, fuck me, what am I going to do now? So I lengthen the actual GT Omega rig itself. You can see where it was. I was dicking about where it was, clamped down. So now it's, you know, that much further back again. So again, I've moved the motion platform further back by moving the rig back. I didn't want it hanging out the back, you know, anymore. So I've moved the whole thing back a few inches. And then what I had to do was take the fucking seat off, remove the bastard rails, re-drill the sliders, the rails, to allow the seat to then fit further forward, but with the rails remaining central in the seat to give me equal forward and backward adjustment. So, to summarise, extend the rig back, re-drill the mounts for the motion platform itself, fit that 4 inches backwards, re-drill your seat rails after making some brackets to fit the seat further forward and to allow it to bolt on in the first fucking place. Now at this point, my seat was perfectly balanced. With these disconnected, I could sit in it, I could just release my grip on here, and if I didn't move around too much, because you will wobble, the seat would stay upright and I could feel I was balanced. If I leant backwards, I could make it go backwards, and if I leant forward, I could make it lean forward. But just by sitting in a neutral position, it was balanced. At this point, I realise this video might be a bit boring because you're not really seeing much, you're just hearing me natter. But anyway, this is all important if you're looking to buy one, because none of this is mentioned anywhere else, and it's a massive pain in the arse. So anyway, the seat's fitted with custom brackets. I've had to lengthen the rig, I've had to drill holes in the platform, move that backwards. I've had to re-drill the rails in the seat to move that forwards. Now it's balanced, now it works perfectly. When the seat reclines, say under acceleration, and then I brake, the seat can quite happily launch me forward with plenty of force. The motors are plenty strong enough now that it's balanced. So as far as, again, compatible with the GT Omega Art Racing cockpit, definitely not. Can you make it fit and work? Yes, you definitely can. Is it a ball ache? Yes, it definitely is. So now I'm all good. I'm all balanced. Everything's working fine. Let's have a quick look at the software, the Sim Racing Studio software, because there isn't any documentation that comes with this. And to be honest, it's not that intuitive. If you go to Sim Racing Studio website, which I really suggest that you do, there's some great text explanations on there of what everything does. How can I get round to my fucking screen? Right. So, connecting it's easy, plug it in, choose your M2 platform, and that's it, everything's hunky-dory. The actual controls themselves, I'm going to summarise them really quickly just to save you reading loads of bollocks on the website. Pitch, if you go up and down a steep hill, you'll pitch backwards or you'll pitch downwards depending whether you're going up or down the hill. Roll is the same but for left and right, so if you're going around a bank track, you'll bank to one side or the other, or if you're going to roll the car, if you're in dirt rally, you go up a bank and pitch yourself over, you're going to roll, the chair's going to go from left to right. Yaw isn't used. Sway is what controls the seat flinging from left to right as you corner. That's what simulates that lateral G-force. As you go around a sharp bend, the seat will throw you to the left or throw you to the right, depending which way the corner goes. Surge, accel and decel, fairly obvious. That's how much you get thrown backwards or forwards under acceleration or braking. Now, interestingly, in a couple of games, Dirt Rally 2 for example, deceleration doesn't seem to work when you press the brake pedal. And I thought this would be one of the biggest points of the deceleration. You press the brake pedal, the seat lurches forward, and you feel like you're slowing down. Now, you can just hit slider all you want, just doesn't do it. if you let off the accelerator, it will pitch you forward, as it should do. And if you drop it down a cog and use engine braking, it will pitch you forward as you expect it to. But if you press the brake pedal, it doesn't. Now, if you turn the boost slider up, this boost slider is to increase the small details, sort of amplify them, then it does start to do it. But that increases all the small details. So that will increase your sway, your cornering aggression, and your pitch roll and everything. It's like an overall gain for the finer details. Smoothing does the opposite. If you go in a sharp left to right and you're going to fling from full left to full right and you feel it's too aggressive, you can smooth it out a little bit by that. So you can turn that up, the value up, and it will just take the edge off a little bit. I suppose you could really just reduce the sway, would do the same thing, but this is an overall for everything. So yeah, anyway, heave simulates you going up and over a bump. So the seat will pitch back and then pitch forwards by varying amounts depending on the severity of the bump itself. Like if you go over a crest, for example. Traction off doesn't do dick all, there's no traction loss. So that's that. Now, what are we up to? 13 minutes or so already. It's probably everything I wanted to say, I think. I just hope this helps people who are pondering whether to get one or not. And also, if you do get one, this shows you the ball ache you need to go through to get it installed, to get it balanced, and how to tweak the software, you know, very simply as well. So I think that's probably it. The only other thing I'll mention is, oh yeah, this was really, this was kind of useful. You see where the power supply is sat there? It's sat on two little shelf type brackets I've got sticking out. Those two brackets were what used to hold the seat to the GT Omega rig. They were just your upright sections there and the same the other side. And by pure coincidence, they're almost exactly the same width as the power supply. So if you just buzz a couple of holes where you can see there, and the same at the other end, and bolt them to your rig, you can see your power supply there and keep all the cables underneath there out the way. Run your USB along with all your other cables, and you just got to plug the power cable in, and you're good to go. Because I mean, for me, I keep this all on wheels. The whole thing moves around, everything's all self-contained. I've got a USB hub there with everything all plugged in, just plug one in. Obviously I've got wind, you can see, and a little dashboard, and there's a couple of tactile transducers, one under the pedal deck, one under the seat. But yeah, it's all there, so I can literally just move this all, slide it out of the way when I'm not racing. So that's, you know, the cockpit with the motion platform, everything else, it does work. And it is quite a compact little setup, you know, if you need it to. But anyway, enough fucking waffling on. You get the idea. Yes, it fits. Yes, it's definitely worth the £800 if you can't stretch to a next level racing one. But yes, it is a ball ache to fit. Hopefully what I've done here will go some way to show you how to alleviate that ball ache. Hopefully I'm in shot here because the phone's around the other way. But yeah, I hope that's been helpful for a few people. Definitely recommended. So much more fun, you know, racing, being thrown around left to right and up and down, especially in things like dirt rally. So yeah, anyone thinking about it, go ahead and get one, but be prepared. Get yourself a drill, a grinder, a sheet of steel, and a whole load of nuts and bolts, and a little bit of ingenuity, and you'll be sorted. Lovely. Cheers. Right, a quick demo of it in motion. A little bit of Wales in Dirt Rally 2, so you should see the seat moving about a reasonable amount. Quite an aggressive game from a motion point of view, but they never show up that great in videos, but hopefully you'll see a little bit of what it's doing. Right, let's go.
Yes.